Okay, back here at the back, where the backsplash comes around, we need to go ahead and form that to fit around the back side of the countertop. Basically making a series of cuts. To make this fit around the backside of said countertop. Grab our hammer here, and we'll be ready then. Get that to come around and fit around the outside corner. Now, we're going to have to cut little pieces that are going to have to go in here on these corners, and we're going to have to solder those in while we're soldering our corners. We're going to have some solder work to do back here, have some solder work to do in these front corners, but this is basically how we're going to bend the zinc using a metal brake, our hand tools, and a little ingenuity. Okay, continuing on with our countertop, we're going to go ahead and remove the paint in the areas that we're going to need to solder when it comes time to solder this. So we have plastic that's going to need to be removed. We also have paint on the back side of this particular piece of zinc that also needs to be removed. So we're going to go at it with a wire wheel brush. Obviously, we've got our safety goggles on, we've got our gloves on, we're taking care of our safety aspects, and we're going to go ahead and remove the paint from this piece. Okay, you'll notice now that I've taken the back side of the zinc down to the natural zinc. We've removed the paint. When we bend this up and it comes up to meet this piece of zinc here, when we're removing the plastic on the VM zinc, we're always going to remove the plastic with another piece of zinc. The other piece of zinc will not harm the zinc in any way. It will not put a scratch in it. So you'll notice now that we have our natural zinc here bent back. We have now removed the paint on the back of our 8mm zinc. So now we have natural zinc coming together to form our soldered joint. That's removing the paint from the zinc. Where we're going to go from here is we're going to remove this from the plywood structure, and we need to now glue this on using a we're going to use an APS 500 advanced polymer sealant that I will apply to this. We're going to want to get a nice even coat comprising the whole top of this, leaving no stone unturned. We want a solid coverage all the way across. Right. Now we're going to take it in a standard caulk gun. We're going to go through and we're going to hit it pretty hard along the edges, obviously. And if we want this to really adhere to our substrate. Solid bead everywhere. Right? Make sure we get the backsplash done. Okay. I'm going to take a piece of metal here, and I want to get this coming across. We want to make sure that we get on our countertop. See that we've got this thing pretty heavily coated with our contact cement, our advanced polymer sealant, and now we can go ahead and fit our countertop back onto the plywood structure. Feel pretty good about the corners. We feel like we can get those guys soldered in pretty easily. Things are looking pretty square and plumb. Okay. Pretty good about that. Feel pretty good about that. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some weight down using a piece of plywood over the top. I'm going to use a couple pieces of 1x4 across the backsplash. We're going to get that on there. And I'm going to go ahead and use some clamps back here on the back. We're going to get this guy clamped down on here. Okay, some good clamping power on there. Make sure things are pressed down where they need to be. Some more clamps involved. Alright, get the backsplash clamped down. Now I need to come and grab some of my 5-pound bags of sand. So we've basically just taken some playground sand, we've put it into some gallon baggies, and we want to go ahead and weight down the actual top part of the countertop so that we can get some good adhesion. Things will set up. We're going to want to let this sit overnight, 24 hours, and let that bond take place. Good weight on there. You feel pretty good about it. Something else that I need to do is I need to go ahead and run a few screws through the bottom of this as I applied some sealant to the face of this. We want it to also be stuck to the front, so I'm going to go ahead and run a few fasteners down through the face of this. Right, so now I've got this nice and flush, nice and straight, so we're ready to go on this. So again, we have form fitted the countertop to the substrate. We have glued it down with a polymer. We have taken some plywood, some 1x4, some clamps, bags of sand, weighted this down. This is going to wait 24 hours. We're going to come back at this tomorrow. We're going to take this loose and we're going to work on soldering our seams, sanding our seams, and finishing the countertop. See you tomorrow.